Um, Hello. I'm here to again talk about the allegations that are being talked about with Casey Affleck, because not only was it last week that he got nominated for an Academy Award for Manchester by the Sea, but this Sunday he lost the Screen Actors Guild for Standing Lead Actor. And some people have speculated reasons why. And I'm past video. I'm not really going to get into it a lot because I think I believe I really said what I wanted to say in that one. Perhaps as this goes on, I may again reiterate some of that, but for the most part, I'm not going to really just go in and dive into all that again. But some say because of the allegations towards him, they're now getting more and more, a little more attention. That by people talking about it on social media. That one woman who tweeted about that, as I mentioned in the other video. People think, oh well, it's being talked about more, therefore that had an effect on the Screen Actors Guild. And yes, that may be a possibility. We can't say it isn't, because a good amount of award shows anymore are very political, or at least in the sense of wanting to be PC. When people hear things about that, like, oh, some award shows might want to go one way instead of perhaps a way of voting than they were originally going to, if things start to get, talked about more. And I have, I guess that's one reason as to why maybe Casey Affleck lost the Screen Actors Guild Award. And I have another theory that could be potentially a reason why. Denzel Washington, who won for Fences, and I haven't seen Fences. I am not saying whether or not, so therefore I can't truly judge whether or not he should have won or not. I've seen Manchester by the Sea, great movie, fantastic performance by Affleck. My opinion, very deserving of that Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award. I would have liked to have seen him receive the SAG Award. I didn't watch the Screen Actors Guild Award. I don't really watch any award shows anymore. Actually, I really didn't do that. The last Oscars I really watched was back in 2010, or the 2010 one, when Christian Bale won Best Supporting Actor for The Fighter, because I wanted to see him win, and I hoped he would have won, and he did. But because they've gotten a little more political, really, and hence award shows like that just don't interest me as much as perhaps they would have years and years ago. But saying all this, that was the 6th time. Denzel Washington's nomination was the 6th nomination he had received by the Screen Actors Guild for that particular award, and he had not at all won before. And this perhaps was a makeup for that. Like, you know how people talk about makeup Oscars, or Oscars are given to some people after being nominated for many times, like Al Pacino won for Scent of a Woman, when people say he should have won for Godfather 1 and 2, and like even Serpico, which would have been 3 years in a row if that happened, that he would have received Oscars. But, you know, and then Leonardo DiCaprio finally won last year, but many people say, you know, for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he deserved it for that movie for sure. Because in the other years, you could argue there was somebody who was better than him that year, where What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he was like really the sole, you know, I guess at least in retrospect, the sole clear choice winner. But he lost to Tommy Lee Jones, and whether you agree with his win for The Revenant or not, there are people who do think that was a makeup Oscar. It was an Oscar that he should have won in previous years, and was given to him now, as opposed to when he actually deserved it. And there's somebody that was nominated one year. Oh, it was James Stewart. James Stewart in 1939 was nominated for Best Actor for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He didn't win that year for that, but the following year, for the Philadelphia Story, he won Best Actor. And he himself said he always saw it as him winning for Mr. Smith, and that the Academy thought later on, we screwed up, like he should have won. Well, at least we have a chance to nominate him now, and he is nominated this year, so they gave it to him the following year, as opposed to the first year he was nominated for Mr. Smith, when he should have won for it. So, you know, they're makeup awards, and granted that's Oscars, but why couldn't, you know, other award shows be different? It could be different, or similar. I should say they could be similar. You know, in circumstances like that, Denzel Washington's an amazing actor. He's great in everything I've ever seen him in. Even if I've seen a movie that it was just meh, he was always good. And I do want to see Fences. I'll probably get it when it comes out on Blu-ray, DVD, and all that stuff. Because that's how I do things. I buy things like that. You know. But that all aside, I think that's a good, perhaps another reason as to why. And people still keep comparing Nate Parker's allegations, or not his allegations, he was actually charged with rape, compared to Casey Affleck's sexual harassment allegations. And I've already said sexual harassment is wrong, it's bad. You know, if he did it, it's obviously not good. But he settled out of court for an unknown amount of money for both cases, and yeah, you know, we didn't really hear a lot from it because there's not a lot of public records for it, since it was like a civil suit something like that. It was one of those articles. I don't know. All these, you know, things go to court. That could be something different, like a civil suit, something different. But I believe I had one article I read for like last week. That's how they described it. So, so that could get at that. That article could have also been wrong too. And I looked at unbiased articles. I would come across some unbiased ones, but I would find a lot of biased ones against Casey Affleck. And I would find some that were biased towards Casey Affleck, and you don't really want to bias one either way. You want to try to find one where it's unbiased, it's just reporting what is to the public, and because it didn't go to a big trial, there's not as much information about it as there is to the case of Nate Parker's. And again, Nate Parker's, people talk about his movie that came out this past year, and for me, I'm like, if it was an amazing movie, it was a great movie, worthy of awards, what happened in his past shouldn't affect his chances of any awards. I might not have said that last time, but at least that's what I feel like. Whatever mistakes somebody has made in the past, why should we hold judgment to them when they could be up for an award, possible nomination of an award? Again, it was Roman Polanski. There are some people who do think that the sex he had with that 13-year-old girl was consensual, but even if it was because she wasn't 18, it's rape. No matter how you phrase it, no matter if she even said it was consensual, which at the time she didn't. I don't believe she has ever said it was. But even if she did say it was, it's rape. In the eyes of the law, it's rape. No matter how you look at it. And should that have affected the Academy's decision when judging his direction for The Pianist? No. Now, I might believe he did rape her. I'm not going to say if I, do believe. You know what? Yeah, I will say. I do believe he did rape her, because she said she got something, or she was given a drink, and he put something in it, like a roofie or whatever, and then he raped her. I'll just say that, Maybe you don't have to agree with my assessment on that, or not necessarily an assessment, I guess my opinion, but, after looking at that, that's what the conclusions I've come to. But there are some that don't believe he raped her, and, whatever. But should his rape case come into play when judging whether or not he should, or when they're judging whether he should be awarded the Best Director Oscar? No. Again, I believe he was the best director that year. I believe The Pianist was the best directed film of 2002. And, Casey Affleck's performance was one of those that just was just amazing to me. It was just phenomenal that words aren't really able to. Words aren't enough. I could talk about that performance in Manchester by the Sea, but it's better to actually watch it. But again, same could be said about Denzel Washington in Fences. And while I haven't seen Nate Parker's film, if his film was good enough and his performance was good enough as well, why should something like that, which is like that was a case that you can look at now because it went to trial. It's in the public. You can research it. You can look at the court documents. Whereas Casey Affleck's, because it never went to a trial, and he was never charged with anything. Just with just two women alleging that he sexually harassed them. And he may have, there's a lot of reasons he could have settled out of court too. It's not because he was guilty at the end. It could have been, he didn't know how long this could go on, and maybe he or they, the two women, had certain amounts of money. They would agree to just end it, end the sexual harassment allegations they had against him, and it would go away, which could also indicate as to what it could have been just for him. I don't know the whole details. We don't know because there's not a lot of information about what happened. Again, I've already said in the previous video, I don't believe that this happened due to the lack of evidence I was able to find that would support them. Again, I think that it would have been perhaps better if they had other people there to help support some of their claims. But from what I read, it was just those two women's word, and then Casey denied it. Denied those instances ever happened. Where Nate Parker said he did rape a woman, he was acquitted, while the other guy that was part of the raping that woman, he was charged and went away for a period of time. But again, Casey Affleck should be judged based on his performance, not based on, he may have done this years ago, so we have to penalize him by not giving him an Academy Award. If he gave the best performance of the year by the Academy, the people who judge the acting in the Academy, which are actors, which all of them that do that are Screen Actor Guild members, and I don't know. But then again, it could be because they thought Denzel didn't have one, so they gave it to him. I don't know. There have been people who, there was somebody, there's Christoph Waltz, who won the Best Supporting Actor Academy Award for Django Unchained, and he wasn't even nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award. And there was somewhere that said, you're in the Screen Actors Guild for the past 10 years, that award has been 100% correct in judging the what the best the Oscar would go to in the respective fields that I saw somewhere. And I'm like, and I believe it was actually just generalizing the encompass of the 4 categories, and not just best actor. At least from this one article I read. And I'm like, Christoph Waltz wasn't even nominated for a SAG award. And yet, he went on to win the Academy Award for that category. He wasn't even nominated. He wasn't nominated in any category. And yet, he went on to take home a second Oscar. You know, if you are going to say that, by that logic, Tommy Lee Jones would have won for Lincoln, not Christoph Waltz. I don't know. Yeah. Just giving another take on what could have possibly been the reason. Denzel Washington won the SAG Award. Again, not saying he was bad in Fences since I haven't seen it, but yeah. It also could have been like they're trying to make up for the Oscars So White stuff that went on for like 2 years in a row. Only white actors were nominated for the acting categories. I don't know. Maybe the Academy thought those were the best not to nominate. I have no idea. Sure, maybe a black person here or there should have been nominated. I could see that, but then I'm not part of the Academy. Yeah. And that's another thing. People try to bring race into this, and I'm like, can we quit bringing race into this stuff? They either think it's the best work, like the Academy, and they should judge based on the performance, not because of what people are saying. And that happened with Eddie Redmayne, because I read some articles where apparently Academy members had said they didn't see The Theory of Everything, but they heard about all the buzz around Eddie Redmayne, so they felt obligated, like they had to vote for him to win. And don't vote for films you haven't seen, but you should see all the films. Don't just vote for something because you heard, oh, this was socially important. That's what happened with the 12 Years a Slave. A lot of people said they didn't even see it, but they voted for it for Best Picture because, well, I was just too disturbed by the premise, but I heard it was socially important, therefore I had to vote for it. I didn't see The Theory of Everything, but I heard about Eddie Redmayne and all the praise he's getting, so I had to vote for him. And don't be like, I was going to vote for Casey Affleck because that was the best performance in that category, but I heard the allegations about him, so I couldn't in good conscience vote for him. Vote for him if you actually think he was the best. If you believe he was the best leading actor that you have nominated, vote for him. Don't let these talkings and these allegations coming up again despair you from voting for him. Vote for who you believe is the best actor. That's how it should be. If it's Casey Affleck, vote for him. If you think Ryan Gosling or Andrew Garfield or Viggo Mortensen or Denzel Washington, vote for one of them. But if it's Casey Affleck, in your opinion, that is the best actor, vote for him. And granted, this probably won't be seen by the Academy, but on the off chance they see it, if you think Affleck is the best actor of last year, then vote for him. That is all.